Hi everyone, and welcome to the first video in a series of videos on the topic of information literacy. Information literacy is a term we use for describing how people find and evaluate information. And today's video in particular is on fake news, and why I think we need to stop using that phrase as a label. I recently had the opportunity to speak to this guy. His name is Peter Adams from the News Literacy Project, and he had a really clear message. Today's students are inheriting the largest and most complex information landscape in human history. Okay, if you read the news today, it is chock full of viral rumors, conspiracy theories, partisan disinformation, and other pitfalls. We've got to learn to navigate this landscape in order to be informed and empowered citizens. So one of the terms we frequently hear being tossed around is fake news. Now, this isn't a new term. This picture here is of a newspaper cartoon from 1894 that's taking a jab at U.S. newspapers that were taking liberty with the truth in order to sell papers. In fact, many people believe that a driving factor for the start of the Spanish-American War came from some of the fabricated news stories that were being reported in American newspapers. And these were being done to outdo the competition and collect more readers. More recently, however, the phrase has made a little bit of a comeback. After the 2016 U.S. election, it was popular in the news to talk about how misinformation may have swayed that election. One writer named Paul Horner took a lot of credit for putting Donald Trump into the White House by creating fake news stories that supported the Republican candidate. He did the news circuit and even gave some evidence of some famous people that were sharing his fake news stories. Probably the most notable of all of them was Donald Trump's son Eric, who seemed to be a frequent retweeter of the misinformation. Declarations went flying through the media that Trump supporters were duped by fake news, and that's the reason he got elected. But as it turns out, that seemed to be a bit of fake news on its own right. You see, the other side of the story was that not only was there a lot of fake news supporting Donald Trump, but there was also a lot of fake news supporting Hillary Clinton. Moreover, a 2017 study out of Stanford found that the influence of these stories was quite minuscule compared to other influences such as TV ads. In other words, the influence of fake news did not make up for Trump's margin of victory. So if it's not clear that fake news is influencing elections, is it really that bad? Well, I think it is. You see, I believe the real danger in the rise of fake news in our consciousness is that it's creating confusion and adding to our cynicism of new information that we hear. So applying this fake news label to a story, really what we're doing is just shutting down any critical thought about what's really going on. In the upcoming videos, I'm going to introduce a taxonomy on how we can categorize different kinds of fake news. That's going to allow us to open up new questions rather than simply squashing any more thought on the issues. But before I go, I want to leave you this week with a challenge. Technology has really muddied the waters of what's real and what's not. So I wanted to give you an example. We've generally learned to distrust usernames and texts, but pictures are different. You can't make a picture out of nothing, right? Well, that too seems to be changing, as new machine learning algorithms are allowing people to rapidly generate synthetic photographs of people who have never even existed. So if you look at these two faces here, one of them is a real person, and the other is generated by a computer. Can you tell which one is real? You'll find out next time. Cheers.